All right, we are back. This is NHL 20 Franchise Mode Calgary Flames, and this is episode number 23. Welcome to the 2022 Stanley Cup Playoffs. Yes, too many 20s in there. It is the 2022 Stanley Cup Playoffs, and we are set to obviously kick off our hopefully long postseason stretch here as we hope to win our second Stanley Cup in franchise history. So yes, welcome back to our franchise mode here at the Calgary Flames, episode number 22. As you can see, we are, like I said, starting the Stanley Cup playoffs. This after we go 49, 25, and 8 in the regular season to finish with 106 points, which was good enough for first in our division, claiming our second Pacific Division title in the last 3 years, our second division title under our tenure as GM, and we also finished first in the Western Conference for a second time in 3 years, and we finish as well as second in the National Hockey League, just 3 points shy of a President's Trophy, which would have been our first President's Trophy in quite some time, I believe since the 1980s for the Calgary Flames. So yeah, it was a very successful season despite what happened in the last episode for the Calgary Flames, and we might just start with that really quickly here. So it was a really, really good season all around for the Flames. However, the month of March in particular and half of February was not as strong for the Flames as maybe we had hoped. Because of it, we, like I said, we obviously didn't win the President's Trophy. We also could have probably had a record-breaking season. Again, we finished with 106 points. If it wasn't for this last month, if we would have stayed on pace, we probably, I'm just guessing here, but we could have probably been around 120 to 130 in points. Maybe not that high, but definitely around 120. Considering each game is worth 2 points, there's a lot of losses in here, which should not have happened in this month as well as in the month of February. So just take a look at this. Obviously, I know you can't see it on the screen, but this was our record by the month. So we started off the year with a 10-2-2 record in the month of October. Really good, obviously, 10-2-2. Then we go 10-2-3 in the month of November, so almost identical to our month of October. We do drop off in the month of December a little bit. We go 5-6-1, so just below 500 in the month of December. But we pick it right back up in January, going 8-3-0 in the month of January. Pretty decent. And then this was the month of February here, which involved the trade deadline. We go 8-3-4. So again, January 8-3-0, February 8-3-4. Not bad, not actually as bad as I thought. This whole month of February was really good up until the trade deadline where we lost here against San Jose, and then picked up a pile of losses here. Minnesota, Edmonton, won against Chicago, but lost against Tampa, Vancouver. A lot of big divisional losses in there as well. But still, 8-3-4 is not bad in the month of February, but it was this month here, the month of March, where we go 6-9-0. 6-9-0. Well below 500, by far our worst month. Again, I mean, you look at our record, I know you don't have it in front of you, but you look at the month-by-month record, I mean, every month we were pretty much, except for December, we were well above 500, and this month we go 6-9-0. It's just so uncharacteristic of the Calgary Flames in this month compared to our season. Just did not make sense at all. Again, a lot of divisional losses in here, like one there to Edmonton, Vancouver. Go down the list. There's one here to Anaheim, another one to Vancouver there, a couple to Vegas, which was key ones there. So I mean, yeah, it sucked. It was not a good month for us. Of course, we do go 1-1 in the month of April. Only 2 games into the month of April to finish off the season. Vancouver and Anaheim. We do finish with wins. Actually, we go 2-0. Excuse me. I don't know why I said 1-1. We go 2-0 in the month of April. So it was a good finish. After that horrible month where we go 6-9-0. In March, we do finish off the 2 straight wins to start off the month of April. And obviously, that's what you want to see in the month of April. Hopefully, we're seeing a lot more winning in the month of April as we start the Stanley Cup playoffs here just 3 days after the regular season concludes here against the Arizona Coyotes. So yeah, just a really quick recap of the regular season there. Again, overall, good season, really good first half of the season. Actually, really good all the way up till February, with exception maybe of the month of December, which was a little shaky. But then when we got to March, that's when things really dropped off in that final month. But again, we picked it up with 2 straight wins to finish off April. So, I mean, Just kind of a weird season, but overall still pretty decent for the Calgary Flames, in which we win the Pacific with 106 points. So yes, now it doesn't matter what happened, however, in the regular season. It's off to the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and again, like I said at the end of the last episode, the Stanley Cup Playoffs are really a new season in its own. It's obviously it doesn't matter what happens in the regular season. We know that from our past experience in the playoffs, but any team knows that whatever happens here in the playoffs is a completely new season. So even though we do finish first, our division was tight. We'll look at that here in a second as well, but our division was tight. It looked like we were going to play the Vegas Golden Knights or the Vancouver Canucks, I think it was, and then it ended up switching to the Arizona Coyotes, all in the last couple days of the regular season, just because the Pacific Division was so tight. One thing to note is that I forgot to say at the end of the last episode is obviously we got the Coyotes here in the first round. Look at the second matchup. If we do make it past Arizona in the second round, it's going to be either Vancouver or God forbid, it's going to be Anaheim again. Obviously, if you haven't been watching, we have the last 2 years, we have played Vancouver each year in the first round. We beat Vancouver each year in the first round, and then we played Anaheim in the second round. The past 2 years, we could not make it past the Anaheim Ducks in both years, including last year where we went to Game 7 in overtime. We were 1 goal away from the Western Conference Finals, and of course we lose to the Anaheim Ducks. I don't even need to begin to explain the history between the Flames and the Anaheim Ducks, especially when it comes to the playoffs in the last couple decades. It has not been good. Like I said, something stupid like 7 for I don't even remember, 20-some is our record against them. 7 wins, 20-some losses in the postseason alone. It's ridiculous against the Anaheim Ducks. So, I mean, we did everything we could the last couple of years to beat the Anaheim Ducks. This year, we just said pretty much fuck it. We're not gonna build a team to try and compete with the Anaheim Ducks. If we meet them in the playoffs, we meet them in the playoffs. If we don't, then that would be good, obviously. So I'm low-key kind of hoping that the Vancouver Canucks take care of the Anaheim Ducks so we don't have to see them for what would be a 3rd straight year in the second round. We just have no luck against the Anaheim Ducks. Again, I've never seen one organization struggle so much, but let's hope that's not the case. I wouldn't mind playing Vancouver again. But I mean, if it is Anaheim, it is. We'll face them. We finished our regular season there with a win against Anaheim. It's just bizarre that they always beat us in the playoffs. It doesn't even make sense at all. And the last 2 years, I think it was that first year they just squeaked into playoffs as the 8th seed in the West, and they still dismantled us after we had won the Western Conference by a good margin, I think, as well. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But anywho, let's jump right in here to the Stanley Cup Playoffs, because this is a big, like I said, a big year for the Calgary Flames. Like I said at the end of the last episode, this is really our last year of our window, because this is when we have a lot of contracts, including Johnny Gaudreau, who is up by the end of this year. Now, we do have the ability in the summer, which will be a very big off season for us, to maybe reconstruct our core a little bit. We have the option to continue on with Johnny Gaudreau or let him walk. We'll probably bring him back, but we do have that option. But yeah, we're going to have to basically build ourselves a new window. It's also going to be our last year of Mark Giordano. He will probably most likely not coming back with us next year. So, I mean, that will be a start of a new era. I mean, Mark Giordano's been here for, over almost 2 decades. I think he started in 2004. 2005 with the Calgary Flames, and we're now in 2022. So, 2 years shy of 2 decades with Mark Giordano in this organization. It will suck that we have to move on for him, but it's the start of a new era after this season. So, a lot has to be done in this last year. I mean, we really got to go for the Stanley Cup. We sold a lot of draft picks at the deadline to bring in guys like Patrice Bergeron, even some depth, a depth guy like Dylan DeMello. We're really going all out right now. Also, Max Domi, his contract's up, so a lot of decisions to make here in the upcoming off season, but hopefully we can do it as Stanley Cup champions. That will be huge for the Calgary Flames. So again, just a quick look here at our division. Again, you can see how tight it was. 106, 101 is the Vancouver. We did finish 5 points ahead of the Canucks, but then you can see how tight it is from there. 101, the Ducks finished 97. But here's what I was talking about: 94 for the San Jose Sharks, 93 for the Arizona Coyotes, 93 for the Vegas Golden Knights. So they actually finished with the same amount of points as Arizona. They probably just lose the tiebreaker in here, which sucks for them. So yeah, I mean, we thought it was going to be Vegas. We thought it was going to be San Jose. It ends up it's going to be Arizona who we play. Even down here, LA misses by just 1 point. If they had one more win, they would have had 94 points. They would have took this last spot from Arizona. And even the the Oilers, who finished last in our division, just missed by 3 points. So 2 more wins for the Oilers this season, and they would have been there in that final wild card spot. So, I mean, it was just bizarre, this specific division. We were lucky enough to get ourselves up ahead of everybody from the get-go, and we stayed number 1 in our division, I think, almost all year long, which was nice. Again, we could have been so much higher if it wasn't for that month of March, but it was what it was. So, anyway, I just want to quickly look at, what am I looking at here? I'm just looking at the where the Arizona Coyotes finished here. So, again, now the focus is the Stanley Cup playoffs. We obviously want to see where the Coyotes rank in terms of everything. In terms of team stats here is what I'm trying to say. So we know where they finished in our division and in our conference. Let's see where they finished in terms of goals for, goals against, and special teams. So they finished with 265 in terms of goals for. We know that we finished with the 5th best goals for with 261. They actually finished 3rd best in the entire NHL. So not bad for the Arizona Coyotes. They're actually the best Western Conference team in goals for. So we should expect a very high-scoring Arizona Coyotes team. That could possibly be bad news for us, especially because recently we did not find a lot of scoring. We should have been a lot higher in this department as well, because our scoring really dropped off when our play dropped off in the month of February and March. So, yeah, that could be a slight concern for us that they are a high-scoring team. Let's just hope that they're not that good in terms of goals against. They got 244 in terms of goals against. Obviously, we were the best goals against team in the league with 197. 244 looks like it is about middle of the pack. Yeah, it looks like maybe they're actually in the bottom half of goals against. So let's go by the most goals against here allowed. And they are, yeah, they're about middle of the pack. I don't know how many down that is. 10, 15th. Worst in the league, probably about 15th. So, yeah, we'll go about middle of the pack for the Coyotes, whereas we do have the best goals against in the NHL. We had it all season long. So, I mean, that is our advantage here. It's goals against. Hopefully, we can shut the door and we take advantage of their middle of the pack goals against. When it comes to special teams, we had a 22.5% power play, which was good enough for 4th in the NHL. They were just 1 below us at 5th. So power play is very similar here in terms of special teams. What about the PK? We had an 84.9 PK right there. They look like they are about middle of the pack again. Maybe in the top half. Again, maybe, I don't know what that is. 11th, 12th, 13th in the league in the PK. So we still have a better PK than them. The power play is about the same. We got a better goals against than them by far, but they slightly are better than us than in goals for. So that will be interesting, obviously. Yeah. All right, so let me get a drink here. All right, so yeah, that's a look at their team stats. So that's how we kind of rank up. I do expect it to be a very tight series again, just because we're the first seed and they're technically the 8th seed in the Western Conference, or the second wild card spot. I don't expect us to win this series easily by any means of. I expect it to be a tight series. I mean, especially with the way the Flames struggled at the end of the regular season. Had we not, maybe that'd be a different story, but we did. So it is what it is. But here, let's go to the Arizona Coyotes and take a look at how. Oh my God! Look who we're facing. I keep forgetting. Oh my God. All right, so let's take a look at how their players did in terms of stats. So I keep forgetting that in the offseason, it was bizarre on July 1 that Alex Ovechkin decided to walk from the Washington Capitals after how many years he spent there as the face of the franchise in Washington, really one of the faces of the National Hockey League, probably the greatest goal scorer in the history of the game when it's all said and done. And he decided to switch into our division, and of course happens to be on the Arizona Coyotes, the team we happen to be playing in the first round. So yeah, look out. That's probably why they were the best goal, or one of the better teams in terms of goals for. That's probably why they finished ahead of us. They got a guy named Alex Ovechkin putting up 46 goals and 91 points through 82 games. So, yeah, I did not game plan for having to face a goddamn Alex Ovechkin in the first round. That's not going to be fun. So yeah, Ovechkin, 91 points there. Clayton Keller, puts up 73 points there, 25 goals, 30 goals for Phil Kessel, 64 points. So Kessel getting it done as well at age 34 there with Ovechkin. I mean, if they got Ovechkin and Kessel on the same line, I mean, that's got to be the most lethal goal-scoring line in the National Hockey League by far. If you got Ovechkin on one flank and Kessel on the other flank with, I don't know, whoever's centering that line. But yeah, that's got to be the most lethal sniping and goal scoring line in the NHL. So if they are in the same line, and we're going to take a look at their lines here in a second. But yeah, we are definitely going to have our hands full. We're definitely going to have to put Patrice Bergeron and our best shutdown players out against that line. If we were game planning, but that's not going to be easy. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he puts up 54 points as a defenseman. Not bad there. Vinny Horoza there, 51 points. Nick Schmaltz hits the 50-point plateau as well. But yeah, you can see quite a drop-off in the terms, especially in terms of goal department. After Ovechkin and Kessel, really, and even Keller getting it done. Their best center is Schmaltz, so I'm wondering if he's maybe centering Kessel and Ovechkin on that top line. Christian Dvorak in there as well. Derek Stepan, Christian Fischer. So actually what I want to do here is go by forwards and see what everybody ranks here in terms of overalls. Or I guess we'll look at that in the lines. So no, we'll go back to... Never mind. We'll go back to all skaters here. So, yeah, you can see a bit of a drop-off after that. There's former Flame Mark Jankowski putting up 36 points there. He'll face his former team. I'm just going down the list here. So, yeah, just looking at some of the players they have. They have a really good all-around team. Just looking at the names. We haven't even looked at their lineup. But just looking at the names here. Now, did I see Kessel was injured? I did. So that little, I don't know what sign that is. The little circle with the cross in it there on the left side of Phil Kessel. That means he is injured. I believe, so that means he's not available right now. So that is actually a good sign for the Calgary Flames that one of their top point and goal scorers or point producers and goal scorers is out of the lineup. So that could be huge for us, especially if he's out for at least most of the first round, if not the entire first round. That could be huge. Hopefully, that'll be big for us if they take out one of their powerhouses on that top line. But we'll see. Let's take a look here at goaltending. Quickly, they were led by Antti Raanta, who goes almost 70 games, 36, 24, and 7. Not bad for Antti Raanta, 910, 274 goals against. Malcolm Subban, 893. Maybe not the best numbers as a backup, only a 7-9-2 record. So yeah, they're not too reliant on Malcolm Subban. It definitely their number one goalie is Antti Raanta, or that's the guy they'll definitely be leaning on in the playoffs. So if we can just get to Raanta, we should be fine. So yeah, that's just a quick look there. I'm a lot more confident with our goaltending tandem, especially with Jordan Binnington leading the way, and even Talbot if he has to come in. But yeah, that's just a quick look there at the Arizona Coyotes. So now let's take a look quickly at lines before we jump in. So let's take a quick look at our lines first. No, let's take a look at the Coyotes lines, and then we'll match our lines up against theirs. So here we go. All right. There we go. All right, so yeah, as expected, again, Phil Kessel not in the lineup, but as expected, Ovechkin, Schmaltz, and Nick Schmaltz, and I was guessing this would be Phil Kessel on the other side of Ovechkin, but he is not in the lineup, so that is good news to start for the Calgary Flames. But yeah, as expected, I'm sure that would have been their top line. Like I said, probably would have been one of the most lethal offensive lines in the league, if not the most lethal offensive line in the entire NHL. So we get a bit of a break that Kessel's not in the lineup, but again, we don't know when he's coming back. He could come back even by, I guess we're on the day of Game 1, so he's probably missing Game 1 for sure, but he could come back for Game 2, Game 3, Game 4. We don't know. So let's just hope that Kessel's out of the lineup for as long as possible against us. But anyways, this is how their top line now looks without Kessel in the lineup. Ovechkin, like I said, still one of the most lethal goal scorers in the history of the game. Still the biggest threat probably right now in the NHL in terms of goal scoring. So he's on the left side there. Schmaltz, Clayton Keller coming up. Again, 94 Ovechkin, 83, and then a 92 in Clayton Keller. Really, really good top line. That's so lethal. And could you imagine if Kessel was on there as well? That is an insanely good top line. Second line looks like this: Fischer, 83, 83 Stepan, 83 Vinny Horoza. So not as strong of a second line. That'd probably be a really, really good third line. So yeah, they're not too reliant on maybe depth here. When you go down the third line, Maroon 80, Dvorak 81, Barrett Hayton 82, and then third line looks like this: Lawson Krause 78, Mark Jankowski 79, and Ryan Hartman 79. So when I'm looking at this right now, you've got one extremely lethal top line. You got a not really a good second line here, probably a really strong third line instead of a second line. You got probably another decent third line here on your third line, and then you got a fourth line, a regular fourth line on your bottom. So basically, they got two third lines, a fourth line, but one insanely good first line there. So we do have them beat in terms of depth. We've got a way better depth. Look at their center depth as well: 83, 83, 81, 79. They are not deep down the middle at all. They are deep on the wings, especially with Keller and Ovechkin, and if Kessel comes back, but they're not too deep down the middle. And they're just not too deep in general in their bottom nine, really. So they're going to rely heavily on this top line to do a lot of the damage. If we can shut down this line, we have them beat in the depth department. Looking at the defense here, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 88, 87 for Jacob Chikrin. That's a pretty good top pairing, pretty elite. 82 and 82 here for Joe Edmondson, who looks like he was just injured, and Jake McCabe. It's an all right second pairing. Probably not as strong as you want for your second pairing. Jomerson and this guy here, Kyle Kabanko. Don't know how to say that, but that is their bottom six there. So we have them beat. They have got a really good top pairing, not as good in their bottom four. We have them beat in terms of depth down there as well. Special teams, just quickly looking here. Obviously, they got Ovechkin on the flank here with Ekman-Larsson, Schmartz, Keller, and Vinny Horoza. So pretty lethal top power play unit. Second unit isn't as scary, again, without Phil Kessel. PK looks like that. Jankowski's on their PK. Dvorak, Hayton. Again, their PK struggled about halfway through or about middle of the pack in terms of the league. So we do have them beat here if we can take advantage and get a lot of power plays. Our power play was good this year, just as good as their power play. So if we can take advantage of this PK unit here that they've got, hopefully our power play unit's way better. So again, we might have the special teams battle win here. And then Antti-Raanta, like we said, in Malcolm Subban. Antti-Raanta is an 85, excuse me. All right, so yeah, that's how they look. Let's take a look at how we look, and then we'll jump right into our first round matchup here against the Coyotes. But you can see how they're built. Now take a look at how we are built. Much more depth down the middle. So we go 90, 91, 83. Again, Mangiapane doesn't play like an 83, but that's still a pretty good top line. But look at our depth down here: 86, 84, 86. And then even down here, 84, 83, 86. Domi should actually be in our top six as well. And then 80, 77. So, I mean, our fourth line is probably similar to their fourth line. But we definitely have a much stronger. We basically have a top line. Maybe not as good as their top line, but it's very close to as good as their top line. We have a really strong second line, a really strong third line, almost another second line here. So we almost have two second lines. And then we have a fourth line. Now, in the last episode, we did so much juggling between our top nine. So basically, Bennett, Kopp, Versteeg, and Smith-Pelly stayed in our bottom line here. But this top three lines in our top line, second line, and third line, we were completely reconstructing these lines throughout that month of March because we were struggling so much when we went 6-9-0. So we did a lot of flipping. We did, we brought a lot of these guys in our top six and out of our top six. Guys like Backlund, Domi, Lindholm, Bergeron, Tkachuk, Mangiapane, even Monahan. Everybody was just flipping spots. I think Goudreau and Dubé were the only guys that actually stayed put in their actual positions. Everybody else was just flipping positions left, right, and center in the last episode there. So we're still trying to figure out our top nine, which is kind of not good news, but we have a lot of options. That's the reason we did it. I mean, look how many centers we have in our top nine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All three of these guys on the third line are centermen. Lindholm and Bergeron are centermen, and Monahan's a centerman. So we have 6 centermen in our top 9. We have a lot of ability to move things around. Now, our best overall centerman has to still be Patrice Bergeron with his two-way stats. Monahan's still really reliable centerman at 91 overall. Backlund's always good down the middle, but Domi and Lindholm can easily step in as well. They've been number one centerman in their time in the NHL. Dubé, we've used him in a centerman role as well because he is a natural centerman. So yeah, we have so many options here, as well as a lot of these guys can play the wing, which you see them doing here. So I'm not sure. I think we'll start the Stanley Cup playoffs with this lineup because we did get 2 straight wins, I believe, with this lineup. So we'll start with Gaudreau, Monahan, Mangiapane, Tkachuk, Bergeron, Lindholm, and then we'll start Domi on the third line with Backlund and Dubé, and then Bennett, Kopp, and Versteeg, and we'll see how we are after Game 1. Hanifin, Valimaki, yeah, that's our top pairing, 89 and 88, just as good as their top pairing, but again, we have them beat in terms of depth, 86 in Giordano, 85 in Anderson. That's almost another top pairing in itself, way better than their second pairing, and then Dylan DeMello and Oliver Shillington, they're not bad, as well as our third pairing. Our power play, again, I really think it's going to be a battle of special teams. Our power play does look like this. That's probably our best power play unit still. I mean, you can argue to flip Domi or Mangiapane in where Lindholm is, but we'll stick with this unit right now, see how they do. Monahan, Tkachuk, Lindholm, Gaudreau, Hanifin, Domi, Bergeron. But we have a really good second unit too. Like, look how lethal this second unit is. 86, 84, 83, 88, and 86. Like, this is probably a number one power play unit on most teams. That's our second unit. I mean, we are just so stacked, when it comes to the power play. We should be able to take advantage of their weaker PK. Our PK looks like this, really good with Bergeron and Backlund in there, Valimaki and Giordano. That's our best PK, top 4 PK unit by far. Monahan, Lindholm, and Anderson and Hanifin. Still a really good second PK unit. Again, we have really, really good depth. We have to be able to beat this team on our depth and our ability to go throughout the lineup. When we look at goaltending, Binghamton and Talbot, and again, Binghamton's in 86, their goalie Antti-Ratna's in 85, so we do have them beat slightly in the goaltending department too, as well as if we ever did need to go to our backup, I think Cam Talbot's way better than Malcolm Subban in terms of stats. So yeah, that's how it looks. Like, honestly, we should be able to beat this Arizona Coyotes team. I say should. It looks good on paper for us. They do have a lethal offense, especially in a lethal top line with Alex Ovechkin leading the way. But we should still be able to take advantage of the Coyotes. But it's going to be close. I still think it's going to be really close. We'll see. I hope, obviously, we get by the first round. We did not go all this way to build this team just to be exited in the first round. Obviously, like I said, we've been eliminated in the second round the last 2 years straight by the Anaheim Ducks. We obviously want to go a lot further than the first or second round. Even the third round, basically it seems like our only objective this year that will make sense is to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, I'd be disappointed if we do anything other than win a Stanley Cup at this point. We've been the best team, one of the better teams in the NHL for the last couple of years. We have to win. Our time is now. Our window is now. But it begins here with the Arizona Coyotes here in round 1. So without further ado, we might jump right into Game 1. You saw how the lineups look for Game 1. Let's jump right into Game number 1 of the 2022 Stanley Cup Playoffs against the Arizona Coyotes. So here we go. All right, here we go. Game 1. Stanley Cup Playoffs from the Dome. It's Calgary, Arizona. We're going to go with real-time sim here. And we are into the first period of Game 1. Looking for a hot start here at home. Take advantage of home ice in the sea of red. Here's our first look at our PK. And we kill off the first power play of the series to the Arizona Coyotes. That's a huge kill. And then they score. Getting on the board first is Lawson Krause, beating Jordan Binghamton. 1-0 Coyotes after 20 minutes. So not the start we want there in the first period. See if we can continue here. Into the second, and there it is. A huge tying goal by Juuso Valimaki, the Juice himself. Ties this game up at 1, and that is massive. Here's a look at the power play, and looks like Ovechkin scores on what looked like a power play for us, but then Elias Lindholm responding, and now Michael Backlund. So a fury of goals here in the second period after just one goal there in the opening period of this series. We get goals from Juuso Valimaki, Lindholm, Backlund. They also get one from Alex Ovechkin. 3-2 Calgary after 40 minutes of play. Here we go. Third period. This is it for game 1. Do we hang on? We need to find a way to hang on to this lead. They're out shooting us right now. 22-20 are the shots. Come on, Calgary. We got a 3-2 lead. Here's a power play. Come on, Flames. We got to work on that power play. We got them beat in special teams. We need to take advantage of that. All right, here we go. About 5 minutes to go here in the third period. Calgary still up 3-2. Come on, Calgary. Yes! Oliver Shillington adding the empty netter. And the Calgary Flames will take game number 1 at the Dome. 5-2, excuse me. That's a late goal by Patrice Bergeron as well with 7 seconds left. So Bergeron getting his first of the series, and that is what you want to see all around there. So just the way we wanted to start. Obviously, it didn't start off good with them getting a 1-0 lead in the first period, but a really solid second period, and then adding on there and hanging on in the third period as well. Let's look at our ice time leaders there in game number 1. Yusuf Valimaki does lead the way with 1 goal, 24 minutes of ice time. Noah Hannafin up there on that top pairing. Elias Lindholm with a 2-point night, as did Matthew Tkachuk. So that's what you want to see. Obviously, Monahan gets a point. Backlund gets 2 points. Gaudreau gets a point. So really well all around there. 9-3-30 for Jordan Binnington. Not a bad start to the Stanley Cup Playoffs for Jordan Binnington. So there you go. Opening game 5-2 from the Dome. That's the way we want to take it. We got to keep going here, though. Need 3 more wins to get to the second round. And that was a big one to start off the series, but we got to keep going here. So we'll probably keep the same lineup as that 5-2 win in game 1 as we head right into game 2 here. So let's get right into game 2. Let's waste no time here as the Flames look to take a 2-0 series lead. That would be huge. We don't want to give them any momentum in this series. Here's a huge PK, massive PK there by the Flames. That is huge. Special teams is going to be the key for us here. Here's another PK. Big PK there for the Flames. They're still out shooting us, though, 14-8. Come on, Calgary. Oh, my God. A third PK in this period. And now we get an abbreviated power play, and we don't score. So we give up 3 power plays in that first period. Not how you want to... you don't want to give them a power play because... any at all. Because, I mean, we saw how lethal their power play is there with Alex Ovechkin anchoring it. Obviously, they have a good power play for a reason, but our PK is strong, so we got to make sure we take advantage of that. So first period, 0-0 after 20 minutes of play. Despite them having 3 power plays, we did have an abbreviated one there at the end of the period. But we do, there's a goal from Andrew Mangiapane on the 15th shot of the game for us, and then Mark Jankowski, the former Flame, scores to tie it up, and then they take the lead with Derek Stepan. All right, so 2-1 Coyotes here. And then Johnny Gaudreau has entered the series. His first huge goal there from Johnny. And this game is tied at 2. And that's how it will end after 40 minutes of play. So huge goal there by Mangiapane. Then the former Flame, Mark Jankowski, really just a couple minutes later. And then a minute later, Derek Stepan adding to a 2-1 lead. But a huge goal by Johnny Gaudreau himself showing up in the series in game 2 here with his first. And it is 2-2. So a huge third period coming up once again for the Calgary Flames. We can take a 2-0 series lead going back to Arizona. That could be huge. Here's another look at our PK. Our PK's been lights out so far in this game. The Coyotes already have 30 shots on Jordan Binnington. Come on, Flames. Come on, Calgary, add a goal here. Come on. 5 minutes to go here. Still 2-2. Deadlocked here in game 2. And we score. Max Domi. I was almost going to say they score. And then they do. Phil Kessel ties it up late. So I almost forgot that Max Domi was a Flame now. The former Arizona Coyotes draft pick gets his first of the series. But Phil Kessel adding a goal. It looks like they probably pulled the goalie there with 49 seconds left to tie this game up. So Phil Kessel is back in the series, by the way. We thought he might be out. He was obviously out there for at least game 1, but it looks like he is now back in game 2, so that's not good news for us. We were hoping, obviously, that Phil Kessel would be out a little bit longer, so they've got their lethal 1-2 punch back on that top line with Kessel and Ovechkin. So yeah, this is not going to be good, but we still have a chance here to take a 2-0 series lead. We just need to get the overtime winner. So huge overtime period here. Next goal is a huge goal in this series. It could really help decide this series. So come on, Calgary. We want a 2-0 series lead. Please, we don't want to go back with a split. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Power play in overtime. Come on, power play. Oh, that's the time you need the power play to come through. And then the PK. PK kills another one off. That's huge. Halfway through the first overtime, another PK. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Take the momentum from that. Here's our power play. We have to score on the power play. Oh, it's killing me. All right, that power play is just killing me. So both teams, I believe, got 2 power plays each there in overtime. Neither team can convert. We are going to a second overtime here in game number 2. Double overtime. Here we go. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Here's a look at the power play. Nothing. Yes! Did we get it? We did. It wasn't a power play goal, but it was Michael Backlund potting the overtime winner. So just as he did, in 2015 against the Anaheim Ducks, that was probably the biggest overtime playoff goal in recent history for the Calgary Flames, was in 2015 when Michael Backlund scored there in Game 3 or 4 and in the second round against Anaheim. Gave Calgary their only win of the series, but it was a huge one. So just like he did back then, a good, 5, 6, 7 years ago, he scores yet again for the Flames in overtime. This one coming in double overtime, as you can see there, about 3-4 minutes into double overtime for the Flames, and we take a massive 2-0 series lead there on the Coyotes. So that's what you want to see. Let's take again a look at our leaders here in this one. Hanifin, Valimaki goes with an assist. +2 night there for Monahan. +2 for Giordano, both picking up an assist. Mangiapane +2 with a goal. Johnny Gaudreau, 2-point night and a +2. That's what you want to see. Bergeron does go -1 in this one, as does Elias Lindholm. Backlund puts a goal in. Domia, 2-point night. So a lot of our big guns showing up in this one. That's what you want to see. And then in the goaltending department, look at Jordan Binnington, just getting the job done. 9-3-2, quietly a pretty good night there for him, facing 44 shots, getting the job done through 82 minutes there on the ice. So that's what you want to see, obviously, at your starting goaltender. And yeah, we'll take it. It's obviously a 2-0 series lead for the Calgary Flames. We'll take it, but looks like we have an injury here. It is Juuso Valimaki with a mild concussion. His estimated return is the 15th of April. Crap. Okay, so we're going to be without Valimaki for a little bit here. I don't know if that's 1 or 2 or a couple games, but we just lost one of our best defensemen. So that's going to test our depth. That's why we've got depth here. So let's go here and edit our lines. Crap. So he did have a mild concussion in I believe it was the last episode as well. So he missed time there. This is going to be tough. So we'll put Anderson up there. Probably put Shillington up with Giordano. And then we'll have to bring in, obviously, Carl Gunnarsson as our 6th defenseman. I will... No, I'm going to have to edit our lines here quickly. So why don't you give me a second here. I'm going to run in, edit all of our lines, because obviously I don't want to put Carl Gunnarsson in power play and PK and everything. So give me a second. I'm going to edit our lines. Alright, so we're back here. Just finished editing all of our lines there. Basically, I put Rasmus Anderson up in a lot of situations. Dylan DeMello went in a lot of defensive situations, like on the PK, and then even Oliver Shillington came in a few. So really, just a lot of our defensemen coming in committee to fill the absence of Juuso Valimaki. It looks like we will be without Valimaki for at least games 3 and 4. The 15th is the day after game 4, as you can see down there. So. Hopefully it's just for 2 games. Let's pray it's not for any longer, because we definitely need Juuso Valimaki back. He's one of our top defensemen for a reason. This is definitely going to test our depth, though, on the blue line. So we did have them beat in terms of depth when it comes to the blue line. We just got to hope that it does come through now. I just want to take a quick look now at their lines now that they have Phil Kessel back. I just want to see what they're doing here, if they have Kessel on that top line. So yeah, they have Kessel on the top line, but look at this. They bumped Ovechkin down to the second line. So I thought they wanted to stack their top line with Ovechkin, Schmaltz, and Kessel, but it's actually a better decision that they drop one of them, either Kessel or Ovechkin, down to the second line to kind of spread it out. Because now you got Ovechkin with Stepan and Clayton Keller. I mean, that's not even a second line. That's an elite top line as well. Stepan, maybe not the best centerman to play with these 2 wingers, but still, now you've got about 2 really good first lines. That's what I would think here. This second line is actually probably better than this top line. You see 83 in Horoza, 83 in Schmaltz, and then 90 in Kessel. I would still probably prefer this Ovechkin Stepan Keller line as my top line if I was them. But still, they got a good 1-2 punch now. So they're spreading it out. We still have them beat, I think, down here in the bottom 6. But yeah, they're definitely spreading it out now with the return of Phil Kessel. So I mean, that's not good news for us. Plus, we lost one of our top players in Juuso Valimaki. So we're definitely going to be tested, but we are up 2-0 in this series heading back to Arizona. We have to take advantage of this 2-0 lead. We got to keep going, though. We don't want to give them any life, obviously, in this series. So as we shift the series back to the desert, we got to make sure we are continuing to put our foot on the gas pedal here and not give up So here we go. Game 3, we're going to keep the same lineup as the Game 1 and 2. Obviously, minus Juuso Välimäki. Now, like I said, Carl Gunnarsson comes in on that third pairing with Dylan DeMello. Rasmus Andersson bumps up. Oliver Kylington bumps up. So let's see what we got here. So here we go. Game 3 from the desert. Come on, Calgary. This would be huge if we could take a 3-0 series lead here. If we could take that stranglehold on this series, that would be massive. This is a huge game for Calgary. Come on. Power play. Come on. Ooh, we might have to look at switching up our power play just a little bit because we have not scored, I believe, yet in this series on the power play. We did take Juuso Välimäki off the second pairing, obviously, and slid in, who did I slide in? Rasmus Andersson slid onto that second pairing. So that's a minor change just to the second unit on the PP, but obviously still the PP is not getting done. We might think about switching it up after this game unless we can get something here. So after 20 minutes of play, shots 8-7 scoreless in this one. Let's keep going here. Second period of play here in Game 3. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Yes, Johnny Gaudreau, second of the series, and that's massive from Johnny Hockey. Huge goal there. Give us a little bit of life here in Game 3. Can we build off of that? Come on, Calgary. We got to build off of that. Can't hang on to a 1-0 lead here. Come on, Calgary. Okay, huge PK here. Huge PK. Yes, our PK has been excellent in this series. That's one thing I've liked. And again, Juuso Välimäki, such a huge part of that PK. He's one of our best defensive defensemen. He came off of that PK unit. Rasmus Andersson moved up to the top PK unit. And then Carl Gunnarsson, Dylan DeMello slid into that PK unit as well. So our PK is a little bit weaker without Juuso Välimäki. Our whole team in general, our PP, our PK, and our overall lineup, a little bit weaker without Juuso Välimäki. So we're definitely being tested here in this series now without Välimäki. All right, 7 shots, 17 apiece, I should say here in Game 3 after 40. Here's the final 20. Do we hang on for a stranglehold on this series? Come on, Calgary. Let's hang on here. Period number 3. Yes, a huge goal by Rasmus Andersson. That is a huge goal as he gets some elevated ice time. And then there's Matthew Tkachuk, his first of the series, and we've taken a 3-0 series lead. Look at the power play there. That still doesn't get the job done. Another power play there, still not getting. So yeah, we're definitely going to switch up our PP here. That was about 3 or 4 power play chances here. Now the Coyotes just got a couple quick goals here. Barrett Hayton, Patrick Maroon. Come on, Calgary. Hang on. You had a 3-0 series lead. Come on. Or a 3-0 lead in this game. Yes, and now we take a 3-0 series lead. All right, so that's huge. Yeah, all right, so we hang on for the 3-0 win. Matthew Tkachuk's third period goal here actually stands to be the game winner. A little bit nervous when Barrett Hayton and then Patrick Maroon make it 2-0, or make it 3-2, I should say, in just a matter of minutes. But we do hang on there in the third. Good job by Jordan Binnington and the defense to shut the door there in the final couple minutes there. But huge goals by Rasmus Andersson, Matthew Tkachuk, and Johnny Gaudreau in this one. So I'll take a quick look at this one. But we do have a 3-0 series lead. That's huge. 2-point night there for Max Domi, 2-point night for Sean Monahan. Gaudreau getting a goal, Elias Lindholm. Just want to look at our leaders here. So Rasmus Andersson actually leads us in ice time this time, stepping up. Juuso Välimäki usually leads us in ice time. It's either him or Hannafin. This time it is Rasmus Andersson. And look what he does with an elevated ice time here in this one. Probably his most ice time he's had all season, and definitely here in the playoffs. He gets 1 goal here and a +1 rating. 4 shots on net for Rasmus Andersson. So very happy to see that from Andersson. Yeah, just a good night all around as we take a 3-2 win and a .933 save percentage for Jordan Binnington. So again, he's just getting the job done quietly back there. That's all you can ask for out of Jordan Binnington in this series. So that's huge. So let's sim up to this next game here against the Coyotes, game number 4. All right, so the AHL season has stopped. All right, so game 4 here. And then hopefully we get Välimäki back after this game. But we could eliminate the Coyotes with 1 more win here. So, I mean, maybe we could, if we win this game, we don't have to worry about getting Välimäki back right away. We can let him get a little bit of rest ahead of round 2. Shall we make it to round 2? Shall we hang on to this 3-0 series lead? 2-1 in the other series there, as you can see, between Anaheim and Vancouver. We're keeping an eye on that. But yeah, enjoying the 3-0 series lead right now. We've got to finish this off, though. We are not done. We are not in the second round by any means right now. We still have 1 more win to get. We've seen teams come back from 3-0 down. It could happen to us and the Coyotes. So let's make sure we put this series to bed here with game number 4. Usually the most important game of any series. Quickly, I do want to switch up our power play. Like I said, we've had a lot of power play chances, not getting it done. It's not the personnel. I think we just need to make a little bit of minor changes here between the first and the second unit. Lindholm's been a little quiet. Domi's had a really good series so far, so let's get Domi in that top unit. Tkachuk was nice there. We'll keep Gaudreau there. Let's try Rasmus Andersson on that top unit. No, you know what? We'll leave Noah Hannafin. No, let's try Anderson. We got to switch something up here. He had a good game in that last one. Let's give him the top power play unit there with Johnny Gaudreau on the other flank. Giordano and Hannafin go in the second period. Lindholm, Bergeron, Maggiasso. I like that. We'll see if these minor swaps here can make a difference here for the Flames. All right. Here we go. Game number 4. Like I said, just a few minor changes. You can see, by the way, that's Max Domi leading us with 6 points in 3 games. So that's why I wanted to give Domi a little bit of elevated ice time on the special teams as well. So let's jump right in here. Game 4, we have a chance to eliminate the Coyotes and sweep the Arizona Coyotes. That could be huge for the Flames. Come on, let's finish this series. Don't want to give them any bit of light in this series. So there's another huge PK for the Calgary Flames. Our PK has been excellent in this series. Come on, here's our first look at the new look power play. Nothing. It looks like it was an abbreviated one as they got a bit of a power play there as well. Right, so nothing so far in the first 20. No, so shots 8-6 for the Coyotes. Want a little bit more offense here out of the Flames moving forward in this one. Here we go, second period. Yes, Dylan Dubé, his first of the series, comes just a minute into this second period here. Calgary up 1-0. Still only 8 shots. Now we got 10 shots. And there's a huge goal by Sean Monahan, his first of the series as well. This is so key when we can get scoring from all of our players, guys in our depth rows like Dubé, and then guys like Monahan who should be scoring. We now have goals from, I think, everybody. I think Tkachuk's got 1, Lindholm's got 1, Domi's got 1. Gaudreau's got a few, Monahan's got, so like all of our top guys are factoring in. Bergeron's even got 1. I don't know if Backlund's got 1 in this series yet, but lots of guys factoring in. I don't know about Mangiapane. I don't know if he has scored yet in this series, which would be kind of shocking because he had such a good regular season. Anyways, we were up 2-0 after 40 minutes of play here. Can we hang on and sweep this series? We just need to hang on one more period. Come on, Calgary. We have a chance to sweep a Dylan Dubé, second of the game. For the second straight period, he scores a minute in. Then there's the former Flame, Mark Jankowski, trying to spoil the party. I'm sorry, Jankel, you should have stayed in Calgary. We had a chance to re-sign Jankowski, what was that? Not last summer, or yeah, it was last summer. He wanted too much money, though, to come back as our fourth-line center. Come on, Calgary power play here. 2 minutes to go. Hang on. Chris Versteeg adding the empty netter, and then Ovechkin gets a late one, but that will look like it will be the last goal Alex Ovechkin scores of this season, because the Coyotes have officially been swept and eliminated in 4 games, so that is huge. Dylan Dubé, Chris Versteeg adding goals here in the third period. They do get goals from Ovechkin and Mark Jankowski, but the Calgary Flames hanging on at the end of the day to sweep the Coyotes in 4. All right, so definitely not what I expected. Just a quick look here in terms of ice time leaders. Anderson again leading us in this one. So just a quick look there. 2-point nights there for Domi and DeMello, and 9-2-3 for Binghamton. Really good series for Jordan Binghamton. So, yeah, definitely not what I expected to sweep the Coyotes. I did think that we were probably favorites, but I didn't know by how much. Again, the way we ended the regular season, I was definitely nervous going in. The way they had an elite offense with Ovechkin and Kessel, leading the way. I mean, that's anytime you face guys like that, especially in Alex Ovechkin, that's scary. But we did get it done. I think we held Ovechkin to just 2 or 3 goals in the series, which was key. But we get the job done at the end of the day. We use our depth. Our depth was tested, especially with the loss of Juuso Välimäki. We should get him back by the second round, which is huge. We took advantage of special teams. For the most part, our power play wasn't good in this series. We'll have to try and fix that going into round 2. But our PK was lights out in this series. So, and we got scoring from everybody in our lineup. A lot of depth coming through for us in this series. So, definitely what I thought we would need if we were going to win this series. So, well, let's go day by day and let's see who our next opponent is. It's either going to be Vancouver or, like we said, it could be Anaheim for a 3rd straight year in the second round. A team that we have just had no luck against in the last couple of decades, whether it be regular season, playoffs. But if it is the Ducks, like I said, we just have to face them, and eventually we have to beat them. I mean, it's got to happen eventually. But anyways, let's keep going here. Let's sim day by day. 8 points, by the way, in 4 games for Max Domi. Again, Domi was on the 3rd line for this entire series. We might have to bump him up into our top 6. Really getting the job done there. Also playing on a contract year as well is Max Domi. So let's advance day by day here. It looks like Juuso Välimäki, as expected, is ready to come back. So we will just continue right now. We'll let him heal. Obviously, we're not playing until the until this round is over. So let's just go by day, and we'll take keep an eye on this Anaheim Vancouver series. It now looks like Anaheim's up 3-1, so they have a stranglehold lead here on the Canucks. good chance it will be the Anaheim Ducks for a third straight year in the second round. A team we just had no luck against, but you never know. Maybe Vancouver make a comeback. I really don't care. They're both good teams. So it's going to be tough to beat either or. But maybe this will be the year finally. All right, let's go one more day here. Still nothing. Let's go one more day here. So we were the only team to finish that early. It now looks like Minnesota's finished their series. Still nothing in the East decided. Minnesota has beat the Stars in 5. It looks like it is the Canucks coming back, forcing a 6th game, as is the Sharks and the Avalanche in that other series. So let's advance another day. This is really good rest and recovery for guys like Valimaki and all of our other guys. All right, still nothing. It looks like we're going to a 7th game between San Jose and Colorado, but the one we're keeping an eye on, of course, Vancouver and Anaheim. We might have a decision here in this next day. Here you go. Oh my God, we're going to a 7th game, so that's just what we wanted for those two teams to battle it out. Vancouver, Anaheim, it could be anybody's series now who we face in the second round. So let's just figure out who it is. Advance one more day here. One more day. And it is over. Who are we playing? The Vancouver Canucks. They come back from 3-1 down. Look at that. All right, so it is going to be a Pacific Division matchup and a Western Canadian matchup in the playoffs. The Vancouver Canucks, the same team that we saw the last 2 years in a row, but in the first round. We beat the Canucks for the last 2 years straight in the playoffs in the first round. I think one year we even swept them. This is going to be a much different year because they're a much better team this year, and now we're facing them in the second round. So we don't have to face the Anaheim Ducks, but the Canucks are still going to pose quite a challenge for us, for sure. So it's not going to be easy either way. It does look like it is Colorado, Minnesota in the Central, and then it is us and the Canucks, in the Pacific final. Rangers and Leafs make it to the final there in the Atlantic Metro. I don't know, it's a crossover. It looks like that's the Metro. Leafs probably crossed over, because then you got the Panthers and the Canadiens in the Atlantic final there. So yeah, good to see there. So yeah, this is where we will end the episode then. The Calgary Flames have eliminated the Arizona Coyotes in 4 games, sweeping the series, but now we face the Vancouver Canucks in the second round. We have had success, like I said, against the Canucks in the Stanley Cup Playoffs the last 2 years. If you want to look back to 2015 when we beat them in the first round, even as far back as 2004 when we beat the Canucks in the first round. If I'm not mistaken, the last 4 times we have played the Canucks in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, we have won every single series. So we have a lot of success in the last couple decades against the Canucks, pretty much the polar opposite of what we had against Anaheim. But that being said, again, this could be a whole brand new series. It doesn't matter the past records. The Vancouver Canucks are still an elite team. You can see their record there, 48, 29, and 5. They're really good, and obviously they're going to pose quite a challenge. So that will be the next episode. Episode 23 will be the second round against Vancouver. We'll end this episode here, but it's nice to see the Flames do get by in round 1 with a sweep. Hopefully we can carry the momentum from what was actually a really solid round there against the Coyotes into the second round against the Vancouver Canucks in episode 23.